You started recording?
Yes.
All right. Today is Friday, October 26th, 2018. This is the Kubernetes CSI implementation meeting. Let's just jump right into our 112 tasks. All right. Oops. So let's see. Last time, all the sidecar containers have been cut. Luis, did you get a chance to update the docs yet?
Yes, I did. They're all there.
All right, awesome. So everything is done. This is all complete. Let me remove. I can just remove this item. All right. Okay. Let's see. Next up is Patrick, who's updating the test manifest to point to all the 0.4.1 containers.
It doesn't look like Patrick's on the line.
Okay.
No, he's at dinner.
Yeah, Friday night over there.
All right. I know Patrick has a few PRs out around the E2E area. There's one that's trying to load everything with the manifest instead of with code. I don't think those PRs are also updating the manifest versions at the same time. So there probably needs to be one more PR to update everything. All right. And let's see. Yes, Patrick is in the next item. Patrick is in the process of doing this. I've been reviewing the changes. I think the latest update is we hit a potential snafu with the updating the GCE PD driver to be able to run tests in parallel, because the latest PD driver removed the option to configure the driver name. And I think when we were talking with David said this is because for CSI migration, we need the driver to have a specific name, so we can't make the driver name configurable. So I think we'll need to have some more discussions to figure out exactly where we want to go with this going forward. Yeah. All right, so that's the update on that. Next is the snapshots test. Xing, were you waiting on Patrick to update the sidecars?
Yes, I think when we told last time, we need to get Patrick's manifest PR merged first and then update the images to 0.1, 0.4 to 0.1, right? And then we get this one merged.
Okay. All right. And let's see. Chang, are you on the line?
Yeah, I have the basic test cases ready. I know there's a bunch of refactoring going on for the CSI unit test in relation to the entry E2E tests, and I'm trying to figure out how to integrate the tests.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. It might be simpler to wait until the dust settles before trying to deal with all the merge conflicts and stuff.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to take a look at all the PRs going around. There's a lot of them, it seems.
Yeah. All right. And the pod workload E2E tests?
I am still blocked by the PR, so if Louis is here, can you please?
Yeah. I'm here. What do you need?
Sorry. So this PR leads to issue which is not fixed yet, and there is a PR open for that.
Okay.
Let's see. So what needs to be done here?
The way how we generate Docker images for the mock driver is wrong. There is,
Oh, we need to do it the way we do it for the other ones?
yeah.
Okay.
We run a test that builds E2E test that builds the mock, but it builds in the wrong way.
Is there an issue open for that?
No, it got closed because. Well, it is this
Oh, is it?
127. Yeah, this one. This is open.
Okay.
Oh, you can send that to me.
So it's still.
So there is a
Okay.
PR already somewhere.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
And
take a look right now. Sorry about that.
it's a stupid thing.
Okay.
And I don't know, do we release mock drivers as 4.0 or we use forever canary?
Do we do what? Could you say it again?
The mock driver that's in that repo, do we release it with 4.0 and 1.4, 1.3?
No, it has. It's on CSI test schedule, which is attached to CSI.
Uh-huh.
So,
Okay.
but I do need to release it. Well, so it will be 0.30 dash something.
Okay, that's fine.
You want me to release a new one?
Yeah, if you can,
Okay.
when it's fixed.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right. So I think that's all the 112 issues. Is it today the 28th or 26th? Okay,
It's the 26th.
All right. Okay, so let's get back to Q4 tasks.
Before we
All
go
right,
into
so
Q4
we
tasks,
have, yeah?
because kind of jumping ahead, I think we should talk about some of the issues that I'm finding right now with 112.
Okay. Should let's put that under this 112 stuff. You think this is a good place?
Oh, unless you want to do it another way. I'm just.
No, that's fine. Let's put it, I'll bucket it under 112.
I think we usually have like miscellaneous updates at the top.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I put them. See them there?
All right. I mean, would you categorize these as like bugs for 112 that we need to fix?
Not yet. I'm trying to figure out if they're bugs still. That's the thing. Then I'm finding a lot of things,
Okay.
and I only started, to tell you the truth, doing this week. So as I'm finding them, I'm creating issues.
Okay.
But I do want to
So,
bring things.
okay. So we can skip ahead to these two items. Is this what you're talking about, Luis?
Yeah. There's
Okay.
a couple of bullets under that one that I added. Yep, those issues right there. So one is on the CSI spec, and which is highlighted at the in that issue right there. Let's see, yeah, and the other one's a little notebook document that I'm capturing all my things that I'm finding as a rough draft until I figure out what's going on. One of them was a really interesting thing in CSI attacher. No, CSI provisioner. It has a -- provisioner equals flag, which is new. And if you don't set it, I see the code is supposed to go to the driver and read the ID, but it's not. If for some reason it's not doing that, and it's getting null. It's not doing anything actually. And what's happening is that it doesn't provision anything at all because it can't find. It's provisioning for nothing.
So actually, I think this provisioner flag has always existed, but I think we should just get rid of the flag because we should always just have the provisioner name be equal to the driver name.
No, I think Jan added that recently.
Yeah, I think I did the auto detection, so the flag is optional.
Yes.
Yeah,
And-
but I mean, the flag has been there forever. I'm saying I think it's a wrong behavior to even have the flag. We should just remove the flag entirely.
I'm not sure. I thought that Jan added it for a reason.
No. It was there since forever.
Okay.
I made it optional. It was mandatory before.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah, so I'm suggesting we go one more step further and just remove the flag and not make it settable at all.
Yeah. Anyway, please create an issue for that.
Okay.
It shouldn't get lost.
Okay, I will create an issue for that, and then the next one I found towards the bottom, it's more towards block, and what I found out is I can't provision block storage using our CSI external provisioner, and so I think it's the provisioner the issue, and I just found that out like 45 minutes before this meeting, so I'm still investigating. But I think the issue is that the external provisioner does not provide the function interface for the Kubernetes incubator external provisioner thing to check if it supports block or not. I think Go ahead.
Sorry, could you expand on that a little more?
So again, I only found this out 45 minutes before the meeting, so I may be wrong, but
Okay.
what I found out was that I have my driver, which definitely supports, to the CSI spec, supports block provisioning, right?
Got it.
And what I got from Kubernetes when I asked to create a block volume for the PVC was this driver does not support block volume provisioning. What I did was went into the code and saw that line in the log, and that comes from not the CSI external provisioner, but it comes from the vendor code, which comes from Kubernetes incubator. And that requires that the provisioner, which is a CSI provisioner, has a function called block supported or something like that. And if it doesn't, it says this provisioner, not the driver, doesn't support.
I see. So this is an issue with the external provisioner potentially?
Yes, exactly. And I think we should add the support for block provisioning because it's all there. We just need to hook it.
Okay.
Yeah, so go ahead and file an issue for that. I think in general, like, we don't have any CSI drivers currently that have implemented or tested block, so I think we're bound to find a lot of issues in that regard.
Yep, agreed. But I don't think it should we. Let me see how I say this. It should not hold up 1.4 or anything like that. It's not a blocking issue.
Yeah, I think we still we don't even claim block support yet for
it's still alpha.
CSIs.
Yeah, both CSI and Kubernetes are both alpha right now.
Yeah.
One more question, Luis. I saw you sent a message yesterday to Workgroup CSI also about this, something about the target path. Was that issue resolved?
No, that issue is not resolved. That's actually highlighted in the issue that I put in for the CSI repo.
Okay.
And I created an issue there. Yes, these are it. These are two issues that I found already.
Okay. Can we talk about these as well? I want to make sure we have a path forward for these.
So yeah, let me bring that up in my screen because that was tiny. All right, 1 second. So the first issue is that the node unpublished volume request does not have volume capability. As a driver developer, I don't know why you're trying to unpublish. I don't know if it was the block volume, right? Or that you access this volume as a block volume, or you access the volume as a mounted volume, right?
Mhm.
So I don't know. So when you come back, I have to figure it out. I have to say, oh, okay, is this target path a there or a symlink? I shouldn't have to do that. The unpublished request should return to me what the volume was being used as, right?
So I know on the Kubernetes side, it's similar. The detach, or sorry, the unmount, I don't think has the, all you have is the path
Yeah.
on the unmount side.
But I think on the Kubernetes side, there's two different calls. There's teardown, and there's
Mhm.
there's a file system teardown, and there's a block teardown. So it's two
Mhm.
different calls. So at least on Kubernetes, we know which one to
Mhm.
invoke.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think the easy part of this would be to add it to the CSI spec. That's easy.
Yeah.
The harder part is making sure we can actually wire this in on the
Kubernetes side.
correct code, because it means that Kubernetes needs to persist this, and all the reconstruction logic and everything needs to handle this correctly.
Yeah.
I think at least for the actual call itself on the Kubernetes side, it should be coming through two different functions. So we can distinguish if it's coming through the file system path or the block path.
Right.
Yeah. The thing is, like in the volume capability on the mount side, it also has like the FS type. It has some more information. So it's not just like if it's block or mount only.
Mhm.
It's the capabilities for mount has more information. But block is just, is it a pointer or not a pointer? It has nothing in it. So that's pretty easy.
So today, volume capabilities are only generated in the external provisioner before we do a create volume request. And then they're kind of tossed away. So they're not stored within the Kubernetes side.
They're not passed during mount?
They are
passing them out for CSI.
Oh, so maybe we do store it. Let me look at the code real quick. CSI persistent.
Yeah. So that's one issue. And the other one is yeah, the other one is just, we need to define better in the documentation what do we do with no publish and target path for block. So that one's pretty easy. Oh, no, sorry. That's not easy part. The hard part on that was whose responsibility it is to create the target path. In the CSI spec, it says the CO is responsible for creating the target path for mount. But now we're saying that for block, you can't create it because the driver has to create the symlink. So if there's something there already existing, like a mount point there called target path, the whole thing, it's going to create an issue for the driver. So now the CEO has to make a decision. Do I create this thing or do not? That's the problem.
Is it as simple as just saying for file system types, the CEO creates it, and for block, it doesn't?
Absolutely. It's just not in the spec. Yep. It's as simple as that.
Sorry, I missed that second one. Let me read over real quick. I was debugging the other one. I should define what to do as a driver when given a target path for block right now. Oh, okay. Yeah, we talked about this already. Yeah, the intention is that it should be symlink for...
No, that's not the real problem. The real problem I'm highlighting here is whose responsibility is to create that symlink. Because the problem is that right now, the target path is the CO responsibility. It says it in the spec.
Yep.
But when you have a symlink, you can't create it because it is the driver's responsibility. So now you're passing that, so it's kind of confusing. So
we should just be consistent and say a target path is a responsibility of the driver to create.
Yeah, we could do that. And then it's always the response. But sometimes the target path, like the make theirs and all that stuff, has to be created in the caller because you want to set up the right change mod, like permissions. So maybe we don't have target path anymore. We have target path for mounts, and we have target symlink right, for block.
But then it gets weird because they both get passed in, and one will be empty and one won't be empty. I'd rather just use the same string and then say, hey, if you're doing this, it'll mean this. If you're doing this, it'll mean this.
That's right.
In
So
both
I agree.
cases. So let go ahead and open an issue against CSI spec.
Yeah.
Mark it as milestone 1.0,
Okay.
and let's get it so the language says that the responsibility is for the CO or for the driver to create them in both cases.
Okay.
And then in the target path mount case, we can have us, the CO side, create the directory proactively, or maybe word the language in a way saying that the CO may create it, but the plugin should not assume that and should create it if
Yeah,
it
that's
doesn't
tough.
exist.
Because as a CI developer now, I have to write the code to check if that thing's there.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's not that hard. It's just check file path.
Yeah, I know, but then why even put the main? Just say, look.
Because we already have.
I know. I'm just
code.
saying. What's gonna happen is like, who knows what's
Because
there?
what I don't want to do is have a driver that goes in and goes, oh, I'm just going to assume this thing doesn't exist. I'm not going to check for it.
Yeah, yeah.
I
No,
would rather all the drivers say, like, the
Defensive?
spec be very tight. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
defensive. It says it might exist. Make sure you check for it. But if it doesn't, you're responsible for creating it.
Yeah. Just put
Because I
who
know
knows.
if we make the spec loose, someone's going to go and implement it and be like, oh, its spec says it should.
Yeah.
I should create it. Why is it already there? I'm going to blow up.
Yeah.
And who deletes the directory then?
Who deletes it? Exactly. Good point.
It
So whose
should.
responsibility is? Because right now the CO is the responsibility to create and then delete and tear down, right? Set up and tear down.
Yep. I think it should be the responsibility of the driver in that case.
How far back does he delete
What do you mean?
in the tree of directories?
As far as the CO is concerned, it only knows about the target path, and it is the responsibility of the driver to delete the target path and anything else that it cares about.
But see, the thing is like the target path is like it's a full path, right?
Uh-huh.
So it will only delete the end. So is that what we want? That may not be what you want, because you can
So
have.
I think it depends on if they implement staging or not. So if they don't implement staging, they're responsible for figuring out what the if they don't implement the stage volume call, then they're responsible for maintaining the reference counting to figure out if this is the last mount or it's not the last mount. If they do use the staging stage volume, then Kubernetes does the reference counting, and they can assume all they need to do is clean up the leaf, and then they'll get a separate on-stage volume call when the global mount path needs to be cleaned up.
I think that's complicated, but I would say that just to keep it simple, that the way it works today, which is CO is responsible, tear down and set up, it's fine. And then if it's block, it's a symlink, then it is the driver's responsibility, and then that's it. And
yeah, that works too. Okay.
Because that way the CO can do all of the directories, right, up to that point, like I don't mind 15 paths, right, and then the symlink is only a single file on that directory. So if the CO wants to have multiple paths, it could do whatever it wants, right? So.
Okay, so that one should be, I mean, realistically, it's just a comment change, so that's not a huge blocker. The first one I'm more worried about. Does anybody know how volume capabilities are passed in on the mount operations? Are they generated as well?
They are generated from the PV and PVC.
From the PV and the PVC.
Like the read-write many and these kind of things.
So the assumption is if we're going to do this, then when we do a unmount that PVC doesn't exist, what happens?
I think we store some JSON somewhere.
We store the JSON for mount and unmount.
I'm not sure. We store it somewhere for some operations. I think
Yeah, I
it's
think it's just between mount and unmount.
Guys, I have a hard stop in 2 minutes. It's
Oh, okay.
I have to leave. But let me know. I'll be back on Slack in about an hour and a half. Okay.
Okay,
If you have any questions. Okay,
sounds
guys.
good.
Bye bye.
How bad would it be if we said it is the responsibility of the plugin to remember how it was set up?
Hold on, I'm looking at the node publish volume call here. I don't see the capabilities being passed, or unless, what is this volume info?
Let me look at the spec to jog my memory. Volume info is it's like attributes or something.
There's also this thing called attributes.
Oh, volume info. Let me see.
Oh, I see. Wait, one of them is pod attributes. Is this pod attributes?
No, wait, what's pod attributes doing in there? Oh, pod attributes must be for the workload injection stuff.
Yeah, so oh no, it should be appending to the attributes. Okay, so this volume info is something different.
Okay, volume publish info request has a volume capability. It has node publish secrets, volume attributes, and publish info. So publish info is the publish. Yeah, publish info is the stuff that's returned by controller publish volume.
It seems we save JSON only in mount device, so it must go through attach.
So I don't think we set volume capability today. Oh, we do right there. This is node publish volume request.
So we set it based on just the information
Access
that's
mode.
passed to us during setup. So at setup time, we will know the volume mode. Well, in teardown, we should know the volume mode too.
Yeah, but is that correct? Does that result in an incomplete volume capability object? So volume capability has block or mount, and if it's mount, it requires file system and mount flag. So I guess over here we don't set those correctly, and then there's access mode. In this case, what you're arguing, Michelle, is that we do know whether it's mount or block, so we should be able to set that. And if it's mount, would we be able to know the file system and mount flags?
We have the FS type here.
So we should be able to set the FS type.
We should be passing in the mount options here too, but it doesn't look like we are.
It doesn't look like we are.
So
yeah.
that's
so
a
that's
bug.
a bug. I'll open a bug for that one. External.
I guess the question is on the teardown side, do we need to actually pass in all of these things?
I would like to avoid doing that on the teardown side because I'm not sure we're going to have all that information on the teardown.
Yeah, I just mean, so then we would, does the CSI language, we have to make sure the CSI language doesn't say like, you need to enforce that all of the capabilities are required and passed in on every call.
I mean, today it's volume capability where it's required you have to pass the full object. So if we introduce it on the unmount side, then it's kind of required. We can't say, oh, we'll pass it in, but it'll be best effort.
Or I mean, like, do we require that a plugin validate that every single mount or volume capability that it supports is passed in, or does a volume plugin only need to validate the capabilities that are passed in?
Their volume capability today is just access mode and whether it's mount or block. So I'm not sure what you're saying.
I guess what I mean is, does the language say that a volume plugin needs to validate that access mode and volume mode are always passed in, or does the plugin just need to validate the ones that are passed in?
Got it. Let me read the language. It says for example, the create volume request, the capabilities that the provision volume must have. Actually, that's not interesting. Let's look at controller publish volume. So controller publish volume capability, the capability of the volume the CO expects the volume to have. It's kind of vague. Let's look at node publish. Yeah, it just says the capability of the volume the CO expects the volume to have. And that makes sense. The purpose of volume capability. What's that?
Here for validate volume capabilities, it says the issue returns supported only if all the capabilities specified in the request are supported.
So validate volume capabilities is different. That's like a separate one-off call that's used to validate capabilities for a specific volume that's pre-provisioned. We don't use that call. The way that we use it...
Okay, but we could maybe adapt... Sorry, I was suggesting we can maybe adapt the same
wording.
language.
So
Yeah,
the reason it's
that
weird is that in this case, there is a repeated set of volume capabilities that are passed in, whereas normal volume capabilities are just a single volume capability. So if you look at the node publish volume request, for example, it's just a single volume capability. So it's the intention is that you use one volume capability struct to define all the capabilities for that volume. I forget why get volume capabilities allows a list of them.
Sorry, should we go over the 112 items or 113 items?
Yeah, we can follow up on this afterwards.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, but this should be something we need to resolve for CSI spec.
Yeah, can you add that issue under the CSI 1.0 task? Cool, thank you.
Okay. All right, let's go down to the 113 tasks. All right, so we have moving the volume attachment objects to V1. Jan, are you there?
I think Jan just dropped a couple minutes ago.
All right, we'll have to get an update from him next week then. I think we're at least unblocked at this point and we can move forward. All right, kubelet device registration.
Yeah, it looks like Vlad's gone too.
Okay, CRD installation.
CRD installation's looking good. I had one issue come up. So I was using the existing manifest YAML file that was generated in the staging CSI API directory under CRD. That generated YAML has some issues with it has like status fields which are invalid. So that means you have to disable validation to use it. I didn't like that, so I'm getting rid of that. In doing so, I realized that we don't actually need the programmatic generation of the CRD anymore, and I can remove that. The only user of that is the end-to-end tests, and I'm going to modify the end-to-end tests not to use it since this should be pre-installed by the add-on manager already. I need to make sure I don't break the end-to-end test while I do that, so I'm looking into that right now.
Sorry, were you thinking of just having a YAML store somewhere?
I'm going to just have the YAMLs under the staging CSI API package CRD / manifest folder. Previously, it was called test data. I'm renaming it to manifest.
Okay.
And that is the source of truth.
Okay.
And then for the add-ons, I'm manually copying it from that source of truth location to the add-on folder. And then that unit test that we have today, which verifies that the programmatic generated version is the same as the test data, it has now been changed to basically verify that the source of truth and any copies of it are identical. And if they're not, it'll allow you to update the copies if the change was intentional.
And to clarify, that's all for 113, right?
Yes. So yeah, with your change, I think for 112, you can keep it the way it is. And then for 113, it'll be cleaner.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right, I'm gonna move this to yellow because it sounds like you're making good progress on this and there's nothing blocking it.
Yep, sounds good.
All right, external provisioner.
Yeah, so the
Topology stuff.
PTR is in the stateful set spreading. So that's in, and next one is in progress still.
Awesome, thanks. Let's see, Jan's not here. All right, moving CSI 1.0. So we just got the block issues that we need to resolve.
Yep. No other updates here. Yeah, I think we just need to get the list of issues that we want.
Mm-hmm. I have an item for this to consider if we need to shorten the driver name requirement.
Okay.
Because
I think it's 63 characters right now, right?
Yeah. Because it's running into issues with the volume attach limit feature.
Yeah, so problem is that we're also requiring a fully qualified domain name, and 63 characters is not very long.
Yeah. So maybe the other thing I've been speaking to Hemant with is if we can, like, I don't know, somehow get around. I'm not sure if we can get well, we have a way to get around it right now, but I'm wondering if there's a better way.
The weird hashing thing.
Yeah.
What is the limit that would be ideal? Is it like 25 characters or something?
Maybe. I think I have to see if the resource name has the same prefix scheme as labels. So like for labels, the prefix can be like 200 something characters.
Yep, 253.
But the actual
name is like
name,
63 or something.
So I want to see if resource name also has a similar thing, or if it's just the whole resource name has to be 63.
Okay.
Yeah.
And an update on the get topology keys call. Jordan has been proposing to have a constant prefix in CSI topology labels due to security reasons. And if that goes through, we actually don't need the get topology call anymore from the controller level. We can just keep it as is. Get all the topology keys from each node. And so yeah, we probably want to finalize on the label format soon then.
So basically, we won't have to choose the arbitrary node anymore, right? Or the selected node?
We do. That logic, we're going to keep that logic as is. Originally, we're going to pursue like trying to get topology keys called at a controller level this quarter. And the original driver for that was because we wanted to have a some sort of restriction on what labels kubelet can operate on, and we were thinking of using that controller level call as a trusted source of information for like basically getting a set of CSI driver labels. But now the proposal is to rely on a topology label constant prefix instead to distinguish CSI driver labels from other arbitrary labels. And so we don't need this call anymore. And that's why the current logic in the provisioner is going to stay the same.
Okay. That's good. I also had another question around this. So like later on when the max capacity per node comes in, I know Jordan came up with a specific well-defined list of things, list of labels that can be applied. Do we foresee that the capacity will be plumbed in separately, or would that perhaps use a label as well, like a constant label?
Right now, the capacity limits are defined in the resources field, not as a label.
Okay, I see.
But it has the resources field has its own naming scheme.
I see. Okay, so that'll take care of capacity. Sounds good.
All right, moving on. I think Patrick is not here. Does anyone know the status on this? Oh, this one. Okay. I think this one. The last status is that, yeah, we need to figure out what to do with the PD driver, because it seems like the PD driver won't be able to run in parallel once we update all the manifests. All right. And I think Luis is not here. All right. So that's all for the Q4 tasks. I think we're technically way over time anyway. So I don't know. Do we want to go over these other things?
I think we can go over them on Monday.
Okay.
One more thing, real
Sounds
quick.
good.
I have a docs PR out for updating the topology flag, everything related to topology. It'd be really awesome if we can get that merged soon. I've had a couple people asking me directly how things work now, so it'll be nice to get the documentation updated.
Okay, is that the one that you
Can
pinged me?
you assign me to it?
Sure, yeah. I have it in the list as well. I can assign you guys, ping you guys, and everything.
Perfect.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you all.
All right. Sounds good. So thanks. We'll see you guys on Monday.